This is the original garden. This was built probably in the 60s.
Okay.
Early 60s, I want to say. That was my aunt and uncle's house right there.
Okay.
And this was our house where we grew up. Those trees, we used to climb those trees. Yeah.
Look at that. How cool is that?
Yeah.
So you have a lot of memories in this space.
Mm-hmm.
In spite of all the fuss over roses this week, we should stop and smell the iris, too.
Its stature is magnificent.
The largest iris nursery in the world.
It has a little beard that you can run your finger on.
Schreiner's Gardens, just north of Salem, is a family business.
Most people think purple, yellow, and white. No, 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 no.
Look at this incredible rainbow of color.
The whole flower glows and lots of beautiful blooms. And that's what's so fun is people come here and they are like, wow, I never knew. That's the fun part.
Each iris has a personality. This is true. Some are very hardy and some are very delicate, dainty, a little more fickle, shall we say, just, you know, like people are.
This space is so magnificent.
It is. This used to be a seedling field until the 94 convention or 92 convention, I can't remember. But then my brother Ray, he wanted to make it a garden because we had the original garden between the two houses. He wanted to make it a garden, so he started planting everything. And he really transformed it.
Look at it. I love this one. I was looking at this last night.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
That's a
mimosa.
mimosa, yeah. That's a great name.
That is
isn't
one
it?
is a great name, great
Yeah.
color. I've got to
Yeah.
add that to the garden.
It is a beautiful one. Yeah.
Stunning. And I love that he paired it with the
Yes,
lupin with a little
yeah.
bit of yellow, just like
Yeah, isn't that gorgeous? I
Yeah.
know.
Look at this. Okay, there's a lupin there. I bet it's probably 6 feet. Like, how is that even possible?
Hummer, yep. And look at the birds.
Oh, this garden is magic.
Iris are the queen of the garden, and they're very special to me. The minute I went outside, there they were. I grew up with them. Schreiner's Gardens is a family company. We've been here since 1946. Gardening is in our blood. We grew up with the beauty coming right in our back door. Watching my dad hybridize the iris and saying, this is a little piece of heaven right here on earth, you know, that is something that we all understand and we so agree. It was started by our grandfather, F.X. Schreiner, in 1925. He had chickens and he hybridized chickens, and so he was familiar with hybridization. He met a man on a train and he talked to him about iris breeding. He started growing them, and before long, 1925, he published his first list, and that first list was 500 iris. So you could tell he had the bug because he cross-pollinated that many, and he had 500. He said to his sons, you know, it's my dad, Gus, my Aunt Connie, and then my Uncle Robert. He said to him, you know, this would be a good business to get into, but you really need to find a place, a good place, a better place to grow. The Oregon Willamette Valley is one of the best places to grow iris, and also it's one of the best valleys in the world as far as the dirt, we always say. So in 1946, they moved out here from St. Paul, Minnesota. The very Adirondack chairs that you see in the garden, they brought those on the train with them, and then they really started taking off.
Schreiner's gardens boast of some 350 different kinds of irises. About half that number were actually developed here through cross-pollination.
Look at that.
This one's it's beautiful, kind of gray looking, isn't it?
Yeah, it has like a metallic quality. This is a just everything about this is like, whoa.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, they're doing so many things in hybridizing, so many advances.
Who makes this selection? Or is it like a family affair? Is everybody out there kind of voting?
Well, it's really, I would say the hybridizer more. So right now, it's Ben is making the selection.
Okay.
You know, and he's learned it from his dad, and his dad learned it from my dad.
Wow, look at that one.
That's the beard on this one, for sure.
Man, and then look, it's kind of watercolored.
Yep.
Oh. And that bright, that's wild.
You don't want something that's blooming all on the top. You want it to start blooming basically right above the foliage and then continue up the stem.
Okay.
So it's well proportioned in that way.
This is a beauty.
We grow thousands of varieties. We introduce 16 tall bearded varieties every year. And then dwarf iris, we introduce between like 5 and 8. And each year we're gonna be listing in the range of 500 to 700 varieties for sale. This time of year, it's like 95% in the field. You're going and looking at seedlings you have now and seeing whether you want to keep growing them or whether you want to get rid of them. And then you're also working on crossing new ones. This variety crossed with this variety, this variety, and this variety. And then give it to Maria. She does the actual taking the pollen and swabbing it. So she's gonna pick like a young flower, not like one that's too spent.
Okay, so like this one's too far gone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can just tell, like just look at it and you just know, of course.
How many years have you been doing pollen? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gonna take off the standards, the top petals, and the falls, the one with the beards, right? And then you take the pollen from the one you want to cross with, and you cross it on the stigmatic lip of the pod parent. And you can see like this part, right, is where the seed pod's gonna form. So she'll make a tag, and then she'll tie the tag here. And the number is this one, 653. So that's the 653rd cross of the year.
Wow, that is not what I would expect. Cool.
Yeah.
And then just leave it alone?
Just leave it alone. Like as we walk, you should be able to see some that were crossed early. The pod's already forming there.
Yeah, well, I want to see what does the seed pod look as it like as it forms.
We'll pick the seed pod in August,
Oh, look at that.
and we'll get as high as 30 to 60 seeds. Each one will be different, just like children in a family.
All my siblings, I'm one of 8, and my siblings were all working here.
I mean, basically, I started like in high school, so if you want to call that, yes.
And so I was 10 years old, and I wanted to work here. I wanted to go to work, but I was too young. You know, I'd be in the trees with my slingshot, slingshotting the tractors as they'd go by.
I started when I was 12, and so that was like in the summers.
And I used to basically kind of ran the outside with my brother Steve.
And then my dad just said, you know, I think you can make boxes. Once or twice, or maybe 2-3 times a week. We handle the iris 7 times, the retail iris. Each individual order, we dig by order. It's a lot of hard work.
And then we're just digging and shipping all the way through September. And that overlaps with planting, which starts usually early August into October, depending on the year. In March, that kicks off bloom season, then you just go right back into it again.
I left for 7.5 years because I thought, I don't want to work here. Are you kidding? It's just too much work. And then I came back because I missed it.
I was always here at some point, whether it's for bloom season or a little bit in the summer.
My husband worked here too. My husband, my brother, my other brother.
And then basically it was pretty much just me doing the hybridizing.
I saw my dad work so hard and my aunt and uncle, and I mean, it's really hard on you. It's hard on your body.
When you were young and you were working here, did you actually like it?
No. No, I did not like it.
Every one of my siblings worked here in the summer. But only Liz, Steve, and I were the ones that went into business.
Now, Ray, to my untrained eye, it looks like we're walking through a field of winners here.
Yes, these are winners. This is a yellow we'll be going with next year with the ruffles and lace. The one right over here is mulberry punch that we put in our catalog this year.
To get there, you grow what? Thousands of seedlings?
We raise about 20,000 seedlings, and from there we maybe introduce 15 or so.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of work.
When we was in the winter, we were having Liz, Steve, and I were talking about, we were really talking about closing the business.
I don't remember what year it was, maybe 2017, 2018. We were all getting older, and a lot of my nieces and nephews just didn't want to choose that path. My sons didn't want to choose that path.
I wouldn't want to be alive and see someone else run this place, put it that way.
Farming there's such a sweetness to it that I think it's too bad not more people realize. Because once those farms are gone, it's really hard to get that land back.
The fact that your family has stayed doing this, it's so surprising. It seems like kids now don't want to take on the family farm, or there's this like succession of this legacy is so tricky.
Well, it's true, Ben's one of, 15 grandchildren?
Yeah.
He's continuing the legacy.
But he's the only one.
He's the only one. My parents worked so hard to create this.
Yeah.
They'd just be so happy that Ben is carrying it on, and us too. There is something about feeling really good right here about working hard and knowing that you're providing something for others, beauty for others.
Amazing.
And so each little plant is a different potential variety, different
Every
color.
single one of these. Wow. Look at them. This is like so much potential.
My great-grandpa started the company. My grandpa and my great-uncle brought the company out here. My dad and my aunts and uncles grew the company a lot. You have this foundation laid before you. You feel like responsibility to make things better when you're here, and also kind of gives you perspective. I'm not going to be here forever. There's going to be someone else after me too.
Now it's our 100th year. It's like, wow, it goes by quickly. And then after that, 101, I mean, that we just keep going on. You just keep keeping on.
If you've ever traveled on Interstate 5 in late spring just north of Salem, chances are you've seen them. Row upon row of colorful irises, their flowers blooming in hundreds of hues and shapes.
I can't imagine life without iris in them. No, I can't. I can't imagine it. They're just a beautiful thing to add to your garden.
I can't imagine how many thousands of people are now gardening because they got to come here and experience this.
Yeah.
And how many children growing up with this as a core memory.
We only open it up for a month,
Right.
But I love the sweetness of that
Yeah.
people come year after year as a family tradition. It's so nice to see the different generations come
Right.
out. It's the stories like that,
Yeah.
the continuing the legacy on, because these things are shrinking, right? You don't want to see stuff like this go away. As long as we can,
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to keep keeping on, as they say.
What a gift.
When iris are blooming in your yard, stop what you're doing and just look at them. Just enjoy them for the day. Life goes on, and they don't last forever. The blooms do not last forever.
Do you think they would be as meaningful if they did last forever?
No. It's like, what lasts forever? That's, yeah. No, I don't think so. I think that's the beauty of them. I think that's the beauty of everything. But while they do, just enjoy them and let that touch your soul. Let that enrich you.